Welcome back to another Omni Garage video, and today we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons of daily driving a Tesla Model Y. Now, full disclosure, we previously owned a Tesla Model 3 for the last 9 to 10 months. I had some really good experience driving that. Some of the things I talked about today will be comparisons between the 3 and the Y, but we are going to do some specific content on the key differences that you might not know about these two vehicles. So we'll try and keep this pretty specific to the Y and to daily driving it. So what we've got behind us here is a 2022. This is the rear wheel drive Model 3, which is the entry level available in New Zealand. I know it's not available as rear wheel drive in all markets. Some markets around the world, the only configuration as a base you can get in this is the all-wheel drive dual motor. Now, I think the reason why Tesla have done this here in New Zealand is to make this a product that is available under what's called the Clean Car threshold here in New Zealand. So if you buy a vehicle below $80,000 and this slips in at somewhere just under that, $78,000, $79,000, you qualify for a government subsidy. So I think that's why we are getting a rear wheel drive option versus some of the other markets. So this vehicle here, if you are comparing it against the Model 3, it is taller. So you're about 18 centimeters taller. Your ground clearance, you've got about 2.7 centimeters higher clearance there, so not huge. It is longer. The wheelbase is about 1 centimeter longer, but the overall length of the vehicle is 5.6 centimeters, and you're 4 centimeters wider as well. So proportionately, everywhere it has been stretched, including the overall wheelbase of the vehicle. Now, I think what makes this really nice to drive as a daily driver is if you are coming from a SUV, a mini SUV, I'd probably compare this more to something like a Mazda CX-3 in terms of sizing. It's definitely not as big internally or externally as something like a CX-5. What I think the nice thing about it is the seating position you've got in here, because traditionally people buy these, I guess, crossover SUVs. This is I guess you call it a hatchback SUV for that driving position that you've got there. So that's one of the things that I do like about driving this vehicle, is that your rails are actually sitting elevated probably about 5 to 6 inches above the floor of the car. So if you're comparing it to a Model 3, you've got that 5 to 6 inches of clearance in addition to the 2.7 centimeters higher that you're sitting off the ground. And what that means for you is that when you're driving this vehicle, you've got a better outlook on the road. Now, the way the front slips off here, the hood of the vehicle, you still cannot see the hood. So it's quite an interesting place to be, very similar to the Model 3 in that respect. But one of the things that I do like initially about driving this vehicle is just sitting a little bit higher. I feel like it's a bit more comfortable.
Can those seats go up and down? Do you have any adjustability in the
height
of the
seat? Yeah, you can. So you can push the seat quite a bit higher. You kind of got to play a little bit of a juggling game here.
There's not just a straight up, you kind of
There's not a straight up, you've got to kind of do it tilt forward,
front, tilt
back. And we're actually sitting quite high here now, but I've still got ample head clearance. I'm going to restore that back to my normal seating position before it goes and saves it. Now, one of the nice things that Tesla has addressed with the Model Y versus the Model 3 that we previously had is the way that the proximity sensor has worked is if I'm approaching the vehicle with my wife and we both have the Tesla phone key set up on our Tesla apps, when we were both approaching the vehicle, the proximity sensor on the car was located in the passenger side mirror. I guess that's fine if you're in the northern hemisphere and your driver is on this side. So what would happen is I'd be the driver, I would hop in, and the vehicle would push my seating position and all of my driver profile settings into her configuration on the basis that it thought that she was the driver because she was hopping in on this side. Now, Tesla have addressed that with the Model Y here in the southern hemisphere. So that's taken a huge con out of it, the fact that I'm traditionally driving most of the time. I'd hop into the driver's seat, it will push me forward in the seat, the steering wheel will come forward toward me, and I'd have to manually go in and change the driver configuration back to my seating position. So I think that the fact that that's been addressed is it's turned a con into a pro. We won't go into too much detail around this system here because there's a lot of specific videos, particularly on Tesla's channel and Tesla's website, about the functionality that you've got here. But for me, everything contained in the center of the car here, center console, cup holders, phone chargers, and the screen make this a really nice environment to be, and it's one of the reasons I love daily driving this vehicle. Now, something specific to the Tesla Model Y that I've found is this car's about 200 kilograms heavier than the Model 3, And as such, I've realized that the actual steering feels a lot tighter and a lot heavier. So something that I feel like you probably do need to do if you want to have this drive as comfortably as the Model 3 is change your steering mode over to Comfort. Obviously this is just the rear wheel drive model, so we've only got 2 acceleration options, but Comfort brings down the steering level. Still probably not quite on par with the Comfort on the Model 3 versus having that in standard mode. Still feels quite heavy, but I think that's just something that you need to get used to with a slightly heavier car, and probably having newer tyres on here as well contribute to that as well. I think Comfort's where you want to be in this system here. But look, what you've got within this system, and I think the reason why this is so nice is that the vehicle you buy is not the vehicle you're going to end up with. Tesla consistently deliver software updates to the system, and in fact, just the other day we had another software update in here. You can actually go in, we're running version 11, 2022, 20.8, and you can see the release note. So it's I quite enjoy turning up to the vehicle in the morning and seeing that it's downloaded a software update overnight. So one of the key things that they announced in this most recent release is a green traffic light chime. And let me tell you, that doesn't sound cool, but it is really nice when you're daily driving the car. So picture yourself, you're at a traffic light, and I get distracted at times at the traffic lights, and sometimes I'm having to be reminded, hey look, the light's green, go. You get that friendly toot from behind you. What this car will do, and it's quite smart about it, if you're the first vehicle sitting at the green light, it just gives you just a friendly chime to let you know that the traffic light's turned green. Now, what would happen though if you're the second or third car back and the traffic light went green and you weren't paying too much attention and you just went, oh, Tesla said I can go, let me put my foot down. What it does is it will wait until the light has turned green and the vehicle in front of you has started to move.
Oh, that's pretty clever.
Giving you that chime. Yeah,
nice.
I thought it was a bit gimmicky, but I've been driving around with that for the week, and it's actually quite nice because you can take your eyes off the traffic lights. You can glance around. I wouldn't recommend pulling your phone out or doing anything silly, but it just means that you can
There's a little cue there that can just help engage you a little bit more.
There is. So if you need to turn around and talk to someone in the back seat, or you're just looking out into the distance and just observing
it's things. It's more of a safety feature rather than a gimmicky type thing.
And I think if you've got that enabled, you actually go in here, and I believe it's in the autopilot setting of the car. So if you go in here, you've got the ability to turn it on and off, and a lot of these options in here as well have the little I button to get some information about what it's going to do, because some of the stuff is quite confusing. It's like, what's obstacle aware acceleration? Press the little I on for that. This is going to limit your acceleration and may apply the brakes. So an example of this is if you're at a traffic light and you try and floor it, it's going to put the brakes on for you and not allow you to crash into the vehicle in front of you. Now that's not specific to the Model Y, but it is specific to daily driving a Tesla. You can change things like the forward collision warning, which will tell you if you are going to go and hit something, and it will give you the ability, if you turn things on like the lane departure avoidance, it'll give you a warning if you're going to depart the lane. Or if you put it in assist mode, if you go and try and change lanes or drift out of your lane without applying the indicator, it's actually going to correct your steering and put you back in the lane. I like to leave that on either off or warning because I don't like things taking over unless I am in autopilot mode, where it's going to go ahead and do that. One of the reasons why this is so nice to daily drive is it's got the LFP battery. So traditionally Teslas came and it would recommend that you charge, or your charge state was between 20 and 80%. So this would default to charging you at about 80%. Now, the LFP battery, the recommendation is to consistently charge to 100%. So why that's so good for daily driving is you can just plug in each night. You don't need to worry about micromanaging your battery state. It's just going to charge you to 100%.
And what is the range of this vehicle?
So the range of this is 455 kilometers. Compared to the Model 3, that's got 491 kilometers. Now, they have the same battery, so a 60 kilowatt hour battery here in New Zealand, at least for the rear wheel drive models. I would put that kilometer difference down to the weight. You're carrying an extra 200 kilograms of weight in this car, so you're going to have that trade-off for your overall range. And it is a bit slower as well. So if you were buying a 2022 model, your Model 3 is going 6.1 seconds 0 to 100. This is 6.9 seconds. And again, just put that down to the weight, given that we do have the same electric motor and the same battery pack that's powering these vehicles. And then you've almost got unlimited combinations of different options that you can change in here. You know, do you want your headlights on after exit, on, off? Do you want lights on your steering wheel? You can turn those on and off. Your display settings as well, you know, do you want things displayed in kilometers or miles? That's really easy. You can go and change that. It saves it to your driver profile. You know, tire pressure, you want bar, you want PSI, Fahrenheit, Celsius. You have the ability to change a lot of different things in the system here. You know, park assist chimes, you want those on. You want your glove box to have a pin. That can be a handy thing on there as well. So the other feature that I really do enjoy about this car is the control that you have over the air conditioning and the various heated seats and steering wheel. So what you can do in here, and this is what I find a little bit frustrating, so I would consider this piece specifically a con, is that you don't have traditional air vents in here, you just have one large vent. So if you're wanting to change the distribution of air, you're needing to manually manipulate this on the screen.
And those vents are just what? Just above the glove box?
It's just sitting above the above this wood trim here, going all the way along. In the back, you do have traditional vents, but I find this frustrating to fine tune. I don't think you can beat actually having a physical control to your air conditioning. Where I do like this though is that if you go to the rear of the vehicle, you've got controls over all of the seats in here as well.
So you've got rear
heated seats, and that's something that you get.
Often you don't find that. Often cars come with the front too, but not the rear. So that's a nice little additional. And what? The steering wheel is also heated.
The steering wheel is also heated. So that's something that comes with Tesla's premium interior. Now, if you're ordering the Tesla Model 3 in New Zealand, the base model, it doesn't come with the premium, but the Model Y base model does come with us. So we can go in here and control the heat to the rear seats. And then the other thing that we can do as well is...
Do I have control of that back here?
You don't. So that's driver control only.
Gotcha.
Or voice. And the other thing that we've got is the heated steering wheel that we can turn on, and that actually heats up really quickly. I can already feel some heat.
Do you have different settings on there, like a 1, 2 or 3? It's just on or off?
That is on or off.
Gotcha.
So that's potentially a con to that, but I think if you're wanting the heated steering wheel on, it's probably pretty cold. And the other thing that you get in the Tesla Model Y here, it's called Bio Defense Mode. So it's a really high grade HEPA filter. You click Bio Defense Mode, and this is just insane filtration. There is a really cool video that Tesla have put out where they put the model, I believe it was a Model Y, and it was a BMW of some sort. In essentially, it was like a car capsule. They let off some smoke bombs, and that HEPA filter captured all of this red smoke. The interior of the Tesla stayed pretty clean, whereas the BMW was completely engulfed in this red smog. And where that can be really handy is if you're, I think the way that they promote it is if you're driving somewhere where you get frequent fires or you've got really bad smog in your city, having
or
that
even if you're behind like a diesel truck or something, you know, like they put out a bit of pollution through that and you can feel it coming through your interior, that's good, that's going to filter that out for you.
Yeah, so I think that's it's a cool little feature to have. Depending on where you live in the world, you may use it, you may not. And what you can do in here as well, which I find is really nice about this, it's again configurable to your user profile. If you find that you're using something quite frequently in the system here, you can just drag it down and add it. It's like your iPhone. You can go and add different things that you're using in there, reorder them depending on how you want them to all be laid out. And then what's great about this as well is that the AMD Ryzen chip is super quick in this car. So when you're switching between things, they are coming up a lot quicker than what they did in the Tesla Model 3, which had the older processor. And one of the areas where I've really noticed the difference is dash cam footage. It was quite frustrating to watch that back in the Model 3, and traditionally I wouldn't unless I needed to. It is so quick in the system here, and I think opening the cameras as well is something that that I do find that there's a big difference in. So the controls you've got over this car is a huge pro to me. I think that Tesla do a great job at this. I would consider them more of a tech company than a car company. They do this absolutely fantastically. And again, you've got all your controls. You can open all of this stuff from the comfort of the car. You want to close it, you can do that from here as well, just not with the front. That there is manual close. Look, something else that I think is a huge pro in this car for just the feel of the interior is you've got a glass roof. Now you do have the glass roof on the Model 3 as well. You don't have a glass roof like this. This here is fully tinted, so it's privacy glass all the way, and courtesy of Seth at Tint Lab. We know this is 23% in terms of the tint level. But what you've got on the interior here is unobstructed glass. You don't have any bars that come across. In the Model 3, you do have that piece that comes across on the interior, which holds things like your interior lights. This is really immersive when you're in this interior because you've got that unobstructed glass right from the front all the way to the back. I think that makes all the difference in this interior. A con on this car when we're on the exterior is the privacy glass. Now, privacy glass in itself I don't think is a con, but the way that this is delivered here in New Zealand and the fact that there's no option around it is quite frustrating. The reason that I find that frustrating is that from factory, privacy glass is the only option. We can't untick it. Now what comes as privacy glass? You get this, 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 not this. And why I think that is a con is the difference in look between your rear and your front just doesn't look right. And even in New Zealand, when we went ahead and tinted this front window, so the reason the difference doesn't look too polar opposite is because this front has already been tinted. The legal requirement or the legal limit here in New Zealand is 35% all around a vehicle unless it has privacy glass. And courtesy of Seth at Tint Lab, we know that the privacy glass at the rear is the equivalent of a 23% tint. The front here, we've managed to get to 35%. So we are going to have a difference between the front and the rear. And what you get there as well is not just a difference in what you can see through it, depending on that percentage, but you get a color difference as well. So it's not a perfect color match. Now, we've used Expel CS on the front, which got us that closer match rather than going with a 3M product, which was going to have more of a green tinge. I find that quite frustrating though. I wish that Tesla gave me an option to just tick a box and get the car with no privacy glass. The downside to that would be, yep, the rear of the car wouldn't be able to be tinted as dark, but what we would get is uniformity. We get that 35% all around the car just to make it look right. I don't think this looks quite right. It's nice that the fronts are tinted now, but when you go 23% and 35%, it's not going to look perfect. I think that is a big downside to the way Tesla shipped the Model Y. Another downside to this vehicle, and this is specific to the wheel options here in New Zealand, is that number one, in order to purchase this car and keep it under that $80,000 threshold to qualify for the government subsidy, you cannot tick a different wheel option. You're stuck with these 19-inch Gemini wheels. Now these wheels actually have a hubcap on them. So this here is removable to reveal a wheel underneath, or a wheel design alloy, but this is a hubcap. Now, in order to change the wheels, you're not qualifying for that subsidy anymore. But further to that, you've only got one option in New Zealand. The 20-inch induction wheels are black. I think they look a lot nicer than these, but they're a 3,300 New Zealand dollar option. And all you really get out of that is an inch bigger wheel, and you also get the black design to it. If you're in the United States, you've got the option, you can't tick it from factory, but you can go on Tesla's shop and you can buy a 21-inch Uber turbine wheel for this again. And I think that that fills out your wheel well a whole lot better, but it's not something here in New Zealand that you can do, keeping yourself under that threshold to qualify for quite a big subsidy. It's $8,600. So if money's no object, sure, I wouldn't be going with these wheels here. I don't think these are the nicest looking ones, especially on this midnight color. I think that black would have been a nice option, but to take it over the threshold, it's a big downside in my opinion. This right here is another huge con. Now it's not a con. If you ordered your vehicle 6 to 8 weeks ago, ignore this because you should be getting this included in your car. And what is this? This is Tesla's mobile connector, mobile charging kit essentially. It did come in the Model Y that I ordered here because we got in just before Tesla stopped including these for free with the vehicles. And I think that's a huge downside. The way that they do this now, when you're on Tesla's website and you're ordering your Model 3 or your Model Y, this is an optional extra. In New Zealand, it's $600 to add core functionality to your car. Without this, your only option to charge your car is at a Tesla supercharger, a destination charger, or some other charge network. This is key. This allows you to plug your vehicle in at home using, here in New Zealand, a 240 volt outlet. It does charge relatively slow. You're adding about 2 kilowatts per hour of charge here, but it is enough. I've run off this on the Model 3 for the last 9 to 10 months solely. Now you've got the option to either add this on for $600 or buy the Tesla wall connector for $800. I think Tesla had made a big mistake there. This is key. You really do need this. It's like buying a vehicle with no petrol in it. You need this in order to be able to charge at home. The Tesla wall connector is fantastic. This is an optional extra that I bought, so this was $800. And essentially what this is it is a wall connector. It needs to be installed by an electrician. And what it does is it gives you the ability to have this sitting on your wall at home. This will add charge at the rate of about 71 kilometers an hour. So it's a lot quicker than using your mobile connector. But if you're buying a Tesla and you get it home on the first night after pickup, unless you've got an electrician at home to install this for you.
I agree with you. They should give you something to at least get you started.
Yep. And
by no means is that getting you started, but it's enough to get you around for until you decide, is that enough for me, or do I need to upgrade to a wall connector or something else?
Exactly. And when you're spending $80,000 on a car, something like this, you'd expect this to be included. It's 600 New Zealand dollars. They're charging 200 US dollars for it. I think that's a bit ridiculous. I think this should be included as standard. Absolutely, give this an option to tick to get this added on, but you should be receiving this. So for those of you who are lucky enough to have ordered early, you will get this in the boot of your car. Make sure that during your delivery appointment, you check that that is somewhere in the car.
And if not, then you need to buy one.
You do. And the struggle here was, I wasn't 100% sure if that would be included in the car. There wasn't a tick box when I ordered, so I assumed it would come with it. The trouble that I was going to have is New Zealand is currently out of stock of these. So if the car didn't come with it, or your Tesla Model Y that you're picking up does not come with a mobile charging kit, good luck at the moment in New Zealand. You're going to have to either go and buy one of these and get an electrician to install it, or you're going to have to use Destination or Superchargers until these come back in stock. One of the things that you'll love if you're driving a Model Y is the storage that you get. And while it is quite a small vehicle in the sense of some of the bigger SUVs that you can buy these days, the CX-5s, the CX-8s, the CX-9s, just using Mazda as an example, is that you do have a lot of storage. So I believe it's somewhere about 2,100-ish litres of storage that you get in the vehicle here. And it's a few different compartments that make up that. So one of the great things about the Model Y is that you do have the electronic release to fold flat the rear seats here. So we can flick both of these and we do get flat storage in the boot of the car. When we take out the optional, this is an accessory. What we get here again is more storage. So we can lift this up. Your detriment is you don't have a spare tire in here, but your pro is you've got this huge compartment which goes really deep in there, which I use to store things like jackets. We've got some tools in there at the moment, we got some jerseys, and it stores it all below the floor of the car. You wouldn't even know that was there. And then you've also got this compartment here which opens up, which again, it's quite shallow, but you've got additional storage in there where you can add a few bits and pieces. So you've got a lot of room in here to fit cargo, and then it also extends quite far down the side here. So you can actually fit probably a pair of shoes quite comfortably down there. And Tesla do sell an optional accessory, which is like a rubber lined holder to go down here, or a rubber lined tray, which you can pull in and out if you are carting around things that are dirty. And then if we come around to the front of the car as well, you've got more storage again. So if we open up the front,
is the overall storage of the vehicle, are these combined, or is this?
I don't know if that stat's combined. So I know that on the Model 3 it's rated at about 650 litres. This is about 2,200. I would be inclined to say that is the boot storage, but don't quote me on that. But this is a big difference that you get versus the Model 3 as well. You've got quite a deep storage compartment in here. Again, this is a genuine Tesla accessory that you do need to buy. It doesn't come with the car, but you've got quite a bit of room in there. What I found on the Model 3 is that I could fit things like takeaways, a packet of fish and chips in there. What I think you could fit in here, I think you could fit a box of beer in there. I think you've got enough clearance room. So that there, you're going to get yourself...
You get a few groceries in there,
A few groceries, yeah. Maybe
Thursday
some
night
soft
after
bags.
work, a couple of groceries,
Yep.
that type of stuff.
You could probably
A little
fit,
bit of shopping.
yeah, 3 or 4 pillows in there as well. So depending on how you want to go about using this car, one of the things that I'd probably use this for is the way I traditionally use it on the Model 3 as well. Great place to put anything that smells. So fish and chips, greasy. You've got them stored on the mat there, especially because this is an open hatchback design. Anything you put in the boot's not going to be contained in terms of smell. It's going to carry through to the interior of the car. So I think having that there is a really positive thing around any Tesla that you can buy today. Now the interior fit and finish, I feel like this is a lot more premium over the Model 3 that we previously had. And a couple of examples of that is some of these high contact areas. So this here in the Model 3 is plastic. They've actually lined this with carpet, which I think is really nice because that's going to be a lot easier to not necessarily keep clean, but your plastic attracts scratches. So I think that's going to make that a little bit more durable. If we have a look at the front here as well, and this is the same on all 4 doors of the car, your door cards, the inside there is lined with that same carpet. Now, why I think you want this is that when you've got a drink bottle in there, it's not scratching anything on the inside. It's going to sit there nice and quietly without rattling around. I think that a couple of those things, you've got carpet here as well to cover that up. I think the fit and finish of the interior is just the notch above where the Model 3 sits, in particular compared against the 2021 model. Now, one of the reasons why I think the Tesla Model Y is something that you might want over the Model 3 is you've got a bit more room here. So headroom wise, the car sits 18 centimeters higher and you've got 4 centimeters extra of width across the rear seat. And what that means for the average passenger, now I'm 5'10", so I'm not overly tall, but this front seat is in my driver's position and I've got a lot of leg room here. You've got quite a bit of clearance under there as well, so you can stretch your legs out. You've got the benefit of having a flat floor in the back here as well, which means that if you were to move yourself over to the middle position, you don't have that axle tunnel, so you can keep your feet flat, which is a lot more comfortable. And in this model here, you've actually got quite wide armrest. So on the Model 3, this is cut probably here and here. So this kind of shows some of that extra room that you've got in the back. Very, very comfortable interior in terms of the back seat. If you have 2 adult passengers in here, ample headroom, heaps of leg room. You've got a full section of the armrest each. I think that you're still going to find it relatively tight if you are riding 3 up in terms of adults in the back here, potentially with car seats as well. I do have a car seat, so I can show you what that looks like in the back. So I've got a car seat in the back here and I'll scoot over to the middle. I think that if you're having 2 kids in the back of this car seat here, absolutely fine. You're going to still be able to have that armrest down, which is going to be nice because it means that it will keep your kids, say, apart from each other. So absolutely fine when you're riding like that. Now, if you've got an adult in the back here as well and you had 2 car seats, it is going to be relatively tight because your shoulder is going to be impacted by the upright on a seat. If you're happy to sit like this, you'll be fine. Headroom, you're absolutely fine because you're not sitting raised in the seat here. I don't think you're going to get 3 car seats comfortably across the back seat here, especially if they're full-size car seats. This is more of a booster. I think 2 is really going to be your limit in this car.
I think you're going to get 2 car seats in the back and that's it. You'll get 1 car seat and 2 adults.
Yep.
But I think that's and those 2 adults are going to be squished in there. I think that's your limit.
I think the way that you're going to want to set that up is you're probably going to want to have the car seat in the middle if you have 1 child in here and 2 adults, which then means that you do have, you still have to turn your body a little bit in order to fit in here. You've got heaps of leg room, so it's no issue. It's more just the width that you've got in here, but this is a lot more comfortable sitting here than in the Model 3. The Model 3, my body would have to be turned even more so in the back here. So you are a little bit limited, but a heck of a lot better with kids in the back of this or multiple people than
And I think if you were going to buy this car to replace an SUV, I think you're making a mistake.
Yeah, you need to go into a Tesla showroom, take your car seat in there and try this out.
I think if you are worried about kids in the back, I think you need to go to a proper full-size SUV, not the back of this.
Model X might be the ticket, although you're doubling the price to go across to that model there. Look, I just wanted to wrap up the pros on this car talking about the sound system. So this Model Y comes with the premium Tesla sound system. So that's 13 speakers, 1 subwoofer and 2 amplifiers, and it is absolutely fantastic. It's a huge upgrade versus the Model 3, which just has the standard sound system. It absolutely blew me away. Compared to some other cars with premium sound systems that I've listened to, this thing has a lot of punch to it. And I think one of the things that really surprised me with this is the lack of rattle when you are listening to it loud. even with the sub turned up at quite loud levels. I think that's probably down to just some of that deadening that Tesla have put in some of the door areas with some of that carpet. I think the lack of plastics around that area has just dampened the sound, and it is really crisp and clear. Huge upgrade over the Model 3. I don't think there's any better place to listen to music, in my opinion, right now than in the interior of the Model Y. So that's a quick wrap up of what it's like to daily drive this car. Obviously we haven't taken it out on the road today, but I think it gives you a good idea of some of the things that you may enjoy about this car, some of the things that you might find frustrating. I think something else to mention as well is the accessories on this car. You can see it as a pro or you can see it as a con. Most of them are optional accessories. You're really lucky it does come with carpet floor mats, which some manufacturers don't include as standard. But if you jump on Tesla's website, you've got dozens of options to configure the car in a way that suits the way that you want to go ahead and use it. And I think that that in itself is a pro, although you are going to have to fork out, and you will want to fork out a few extra dollars because there are some really cool accessories on there. So that wraps up the look of the pros and cons of driving this car. We're going to have a lot more Tesla content on the channel, and a lot of that will be dictated by what you guys want to see. So make sure you drop a comment below if you have anything specifically you'd like us to showcase on this vehicle here, the Model Y. We can do some driving videos. We'll do our best to answer any questions that you may have, whether that's in a reply to your comments down below or something that is featured in an upcoming video. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop us a comment below on what you want to see, and otherwise we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.